Hey,
How you doing?
All right, guys.
All
I am going to try and keep this quick. I don't know what he's going to do because he's not good at keeping this quick. But so today is our 10-year anniversary. It's the anniversary of when we started dating. Do you have any particular memories from 10 years ago?
I remember this was a hard task. But in that time, we definitely made it to 10 years, so,
I guess it worked, whatever it was. So we had actually been kind of seeing each other, like, on and off. I don't even want to say on and off. But
we went on a couple dates at that point. And then at this point, October 22nd, we decided that we could make it exclusive, make it official. We started dating at that point. Until then, we were just kind of hanging out, and she was rebuffing my affection, so it's okay.
I was just anti-life, so yeah. So what we're going to share with you guys today is our 10 tips. I say they're ours. We don't pretend to be relationship experts. My husband's still over here eating cheesecake, y'all. He's like getting out of the frame with his cheesecake. The cheesecake was a treat for our anniversary, so thank you, honey, for the cheesecake.
Yeah. She ate hers already. So
I ate myself.
Just for everybody to know.
He didn't eat his. I'm addicted to sugar, so I'm trying really hard not to eat them. But if you bring them in the house, I'll eat them. So please don't bring them to my house. Anyway, so what we wanted to do is just kind of like share 10 quick tips. We don't pretend to be relationship experts. We've just seen enough of life in the past 10 years, good and bad, to kind of know what works for us. And we're hoping that we can just spread a little bit of hope to you guys and give you guys some tips that might help you guys to get to 10 years and beyond as well.
Exactly.
So, do you want to take the first one?
No, you tell the first one.
Okay.
Ladies first, right?
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Tell the truth. So it seems like a simple concept, right? Except that a lot of times, I know for me when I was growing up, it was like, oh yes, be honest, tell the truth, but you have to frame it in this way. You have to be like careful and treat it with kid gloves when you're talking to your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, out of, like just kind of like, and it was termed like respect, but I don't think it really had to do with respect. I think it was just kind of like an old fashioned way of thinking. And what we've learned is that sometimes the truth is really, really hard to handle. It's sometimes offensive, but and sometimes it's just, like the truth is not always easy, but you can't have love where there's not trust. And so the only way to build trust is by being honest. And I have no problems being honest. I am a little bit too honest. My husband has learned to deal with my extreme honesty over the years. So thank you.
Yeah.
And he's a master at not be offended. So, and
I'm a little offended by that. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's it. So that's just my one of my tips. We're gonna try and run through the rest of the 10. But
okay,
go
so
ahead.
with that, we're gonna roll into number 2, which is being supportive of each other, listening to each other, whether it be their dreams, whether it just be something simple in a day. Keeping in support of each other's time. That's
you had a good example about how we deal with Jordan.
Yeah, we whenever we or disciplining Jordan or interacting with Jordan,
our son.
We usually yes. If you don't know, Jordan is our son. But anyway, whenever we interact with him, we usually try not to step on each other's toes. If I tell him one thing, whether she may not agree with it at the time or whatever, she's behind me, she stands behind it, and she just goes with it. We'll talk about it in our own and, figure out what is a better way. But for that moment, we're behind each other. And that's just one way of being supportive. But, there's a lot of other aspects, which is that. But to cut down time, we're going to keep going with that. So.
Okay, next one. Respect each other's decisions. So I guess that kind of does fall into being supportive, although being supportive has more to do with like, okay, I'm going to help you get there. But respecting each other's decisions, too, is a big one, and desires. I think that you just got to show respect to each other and say, one thing that we're trying to, again, instill with our child is just that we respect his space. And the only way that we can teach him that we're going to respect him and that he should respect himself is by us respecting each other and ourselves. And so we just kind of like, okay, well, you know, my husband, if he has something he feels like he really needs to do or handle, there's some times that we may not, again, agree with it, but it's just like, okay, you know what, honey, I'm going to respect that if that's something you need to do.
Yeah. All right. So with that, rolling into number 4, don't expect perfection from each other. Things that I've learned is that people change constantly. We go through new adventures. There's things that make us change. You know, something that happens in our lives that we normally used to react a certain way, but now we're reacting a new way. So with that being in mind, you know, you're not going to always get it down right, but this is almost like going back into that supportive phase. You know, you're not going to be like, oh my goodness, this is the perfect person right here. And then the next day you're like, what in the world happened? But,
I think as long as you're not expecting perfection, there's a book that we read really early on, when I think it was the first year we got married, which is Love and Respect by, I can't remember the name of the author, but it's a really good book.
Shout out to the book.
If you are engaged, married, if you ever want to be married at some point in your life,
even if you're just in a relationship,
get the book. It's really good. But one of the things that it talked about, and that was like set the stage for us to get here, was just don't be quick to listen and slow to anger, which is just look, we're human beings, we make mistakes, but if I'm willing to listen to you and to hear out where you're coming from, and I'm willing to forgive you and not get angry all the time, but it happens because we're not perfect.
It's just to make sure you're understanding each other. So
let's do this one together.
Oh, okay.
Take a break. Okay, so we do have 100% all there for you, for those of you happily married couples who do everything 24/7 together. More power to you. God bless you. But we think it's really important to take a break, sometimes even from each other. And it's not taking a break like I'm going to go out on a date with another dude, because we never do that.
No.
This is, marriage is exclusive.
Yeah, I don't go out on a date with another dude. That's like I'm doing. I hang out with one boy.
But we do take time, and he actually has taught me this lesson, because he has been more consistent about taking a little bit of time for himself, and it's made he comes back a little bit more refreshed, and then he encourages me to do that. So because I've done that.
When I have to force her to go take breaks,
it's
because
true.
she's in the house.
Mom guilt is real, dude.
With me, I know I'm crazy. So, and our son is definitely crazy. He's very crazy. But the point is that you need that time to just revamp for yourself and kind of...
And it doesn't have to be a big deal either, right? Like sometimes it's just like, let me go walk around Target for a little bit by myself.
Yeah, it could be that. I'm all for whatever she wants to do. Just as long as we're not, it doesn't, A, she doesn't leave in anger, and B, she's not leaving forever. So,
but it definitely helps you to come back a little bit more calm, I think, too, and you're more able when you give yourself that time.
All right.
Next one.
Rolling down the next one. Laugh at yourself. Or at each other. It's not, we sit around and crack jokes all the time, but the point is that we love each other. First off, we love each other, and again, this is not for everybody. This might just be for us.
No, I think it is for everybody. I think if you take yourself so seriously that you can't laugh at yourself, there are some situations that are so difficult in life that if you don't laugh, you'll go crazy. The other night I think we were laying in bed laughing at our son for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, my God. We just, laughed such a hard laugh. And it's like, we had this a long time.
It was one of his...
we were frustrated. He was not feeling great. And so he was super cranky. We're like, thank God he's asleep. And we just spent 15 minutes laughing. And I honestly believe, Brian, that if we had not spent that time laughing...
Because at first, it was the fact that it was almost like we were questioning ourselves about our parenting. And it was like... what are we doing wrong? What's going on? And it's like, well, I'm crazy. I know that, so we definitely don't. And then it just went off, and we laughed about it, and we were like, you know what? In the end, we're still good parents. He's still a good kid. He's just a kid. So
it took a weight off. It's like taking a break. It's like you just take a break from the stresses and just laugh, like enjoy it.
I mean, our sleep was a lot better at that point. So
we enjoyed probably laughing together much, much more than we would have enjoyed any movie that we were trying to watch that night. Pretty much. The next one here. Oh, this was yours. Go ahead.
All right, so I said don't stay mad at each other. You know, the worst thing you can do is go to bed angry. You know, I've learned that.
Seems like a cliche thing, but
I
it's
know,
real.
It does seem like it, but it's a real thing. You know, if you go to bed mad at somebody, you don't know what the next day is going to bring. And it already will start your day off on a bad note, you know? So, I
had to learn this one. This one was not easy for me.
Yeah,
I learned this
still
one
wake up mad at me. But with that,
sometimes I would get mad at him for stuff he did in the dream, and he didn't even really do it in real life.
Yeah.
I would like hit him with a pillow. He's like, "What the hell did I do?"
She smacked me a couple times. She's beat me up in her sleep.
No, but he snores real loud. You can't blame me.
All right, yeah. But anyway, like I said, just don't stay mad. You just be the bigger person and apologize. Don't be like, but she did this and he did that, and I can't be like this. If you have that much animosity towards somebody, you probably don't need to be there. But no, you know, again, be the bigger person.
That just reminded me of something. It takes two people to argue. I can't tell you how many arguments this man has shut down just because he doesn't argue. He just says, you know what? I'm sorry. And then later on, I go back. I think it was like 2 days ago. Like we were like upset. It was something stupid. And I'm like, Brian, you're so dumb. I said something rude. And it was about something really stupid. Like I think he hadn't taken out the trash when I wanted to. It was really dumb. We were moving furniture. Give me a little bit of grace here, guys. But he was just like, you know what, honey? I'm sorry that I did that. And that was it. And he walked away. And I calmed down. And I went back to him in 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm really sorry. It was really, really mean. I really shouldn't have said that. And he's like, it's okay. We move on. But that's it. Like, it takes two people to argue. If he had, like, stood up to protect himself from me at that moment in time, that would have easily been a huge blowout over something stupid, because that's usually what arguments start about.
I tell her all the time, pick and choose your battles, whether it be with me, with our son,
with anybody. With our son. Oh, all right,
next one.
Anyway, okay, so the next one is don't try to change the other person or yourself for the other person. So this is one I want to dive into a little bit. I know we're tight on time, but so two things. First, don't try to change the other person. There's a saying that says that when people get married, the man gets married thinking that the woman will never change, and the woman gets married thinking that that she can change the man, and neither of which happen. Why? Because as human beings, we change. Today, I'm a different person than I was yesterday because I learned some stuff yesterday. You know what I mean? And you know, like for me to say, okay, Brian, look, I think that you're really great, but you could be even greater if I change this or that about you. It's unrealistic. Any desire that I have to change has to come from within. It has to come because I get tired of where I'm at in life and I want something different from my life. Not from my marriage, not from anything else, but from me. And then when I get there, guess what happens? My husband can support me because he sees me. Again, that's the supportive piece. It's like he sees me saying, you know what? I see that you're trying to eat healthier. And you know what, honey, I'm going to do is I'm not going to bring crap into the house no more.
So, yeah, that goes into tying.
He's not trying to change me. He never told me.
No.
That, hey, you know what, honey, you're packing on some pounds there. You know, like maybe you need to go to the gym or something. He never said those things to me. Like, honestly, he's never said those things to me, which I thank God for. No. The relationship I was in before him, the guy told me that he would not like walk down the street with me if I like was more than a particular size. So I think that was one thing. I'm like, don't try to change me. Right in the beginning, I was like, this is who I am. I love me. If you don't love me, move along.
And then this goes into not changing yourself. You know, don't change yourself because you want somebody to like you. Because then that's you just being false.
Yep.
It's you being fake to that person, and it's not it's not fair to you nor
If
that
you want
person
to
to
change
be
because it's going to improve your life, go for it.
Yeah.
If your mate wants to change, they want to make a habit, pick up something new that is going to improve their life, you support them in that and you love them.
Supportive piece.
But you never say, honey, I don't like this about you, and so I want you to change.
Of course. So rolling into our next one.
Yep.
This is a big one for us, and again, if you're, for everybody, it's what we take, but we always try and put God first. We put God first at the head of our marriage because that's where our foundation is. That's where our foundation is under. So we always, whenever we make big decisions, whenever we make decisions that we know is going to affect our family in a certain way, shape, or form, we always pray about it. We make sure that we have that conversation, not just with each other, but with God. Because, without God, nothing is possible.
That's right.
We can try everything on our own, but in the end, if it's not something that's by the will of God, we won't be able to survive it. So that's just the point. But again, it's a conversation, that you should have with God first and each other also, So.
And then just kind of like a sub point, from that is, nurture your walk with God independently and together. So a lot of times we hear people talking about, we got to pray together. Let's read this book together. Let's do this together. But my question is always, how often are we doing that independently? Because guess what? My husband and I have very different schedules. He gets up for work at 3:00 in the morning, and I usually work some days I work at 9 in the morning, and other days I start work at 2:00 in the afternoon. So it's just like it really depends, and we don't always have the time to sit down together and read a book or do something. But what we can do is nurture our own individual relationships with God. So he's not waiting for me to pray. That's not what he's doing. And I'm not waiting for him to read the Bible. We're doing that independently, and we understand that as we do that independently, because God is God, he draws us together through his word and through the time we spend with him. And there's been times where we have had no conversations whatsoever.
Nope.
And then I come and I'm like, hey, hon, I was just listening to the sermon from this past Sunday on YouTube. And, Pastor Justin said this and that and the other. And he'll say, that's so funny because I was, I was listening to this song, on the Christian radio, and it was about the same thing. Yeah. Or, because that's the way God works.
So with that,
the last one that we have here is kind of like I want to say it the right way. It's definitely make your relationship a priority, but the point of it here is just protect your relationship. The choices we make are huge, and sometimes we don't realize the impact that they have. And it's not just, sometimes when we think about protecting our relationship, we think about protecting it from people, and these people are not supportive of my relationship, so I'm not going to hang out with them, or this person wants my man, so I'm not going to I don't want them around. I don't think that's been an issue for us.
No.
But anyway, so the point is protect your relationship, and it can be anything. It's not necessarily just one thing. Sometimes it really can be, this thing is acting funny. Hold on, guys. There we go. It fixed itself. The camera was jacked up, y'all. But just to protect your relationship and think about everything. Think about the decisions you make, the actions you're taking, the choices you're making, even when you're taking a breather or a break. For example, we had a really, really tough patch in our marriage back in 2000. Was it 2000? End of 2014, early 2015. And one of the things that kind of started us down that path was because we did something that was absolutely necessary, right? So my husband did do something that was absolutely necessary. He took a break. We were going through a really tough time, and he said, you know what, I need a breather. But because we were not on the same page, it was not a choice that was protecting our relationship at that moment. Because I was having a hard time with my father's passing, and I just felt like I needed more. But again, I wasn't communicating and being honest, so there was no way for him to know that. He was just like, I need a break. I was like, I don't want to talk to him about what's going on. And so we ended up hurting each other, and it took us a while to recover from that. And it wasn't like anything bad that happened. He went out to watch football with his friends. It wasn't like he did something bad, but that's just like something that can, if your heart is in the wrong place, it can damage a relationship, something that simple.
Yeah.
Because neither of us were focused on our relationship as a priority at that moment. I was focused on my own grief, and, you know, like he was focused on his, you know, like the stress levels that he was under, which it happens. I just think, you know, we've learned since then, and we've definitely gone through some really difficult stuff since then, and we've learned how to balance it. But we've learned how to do that by making our relationship a priority.
So yeah, so in closing, that's pretty much our 10 tips. We definitely will hopefully continue this. We love each other.
We're not going to share 10 tips every time.
No.
This is like 10 years. We are going to be here in another 10 years. We'll come back and share 10 more tips that will not be these, or maybe they will be these. Who knows?
Well, we'll probably bring some of these back up, but either way, we want to make a lifetime of this, you know, not just another 10 years, you know.
Another 10. Well, we'll go 10 at a time.
Yeah, we'll go 10 at a time, but our idea is to be together.
But I think I just want to thank everybody that has reached out to wish us a happy anniversary.
Yep. Thank you guys.
We really appreciate that. And I am just so grateful. And I want to take a quick moment to say thank you for the most amazing husband on earth. I thank God for my husband and for my marriage. And I know that it's hasn't been an easy road.
No. You know what? It's been
a lot of fun though.
It's been a fun ride. You know, we've had our stops and bumps and bruises along the way, but we love each other.
We have a beautiful son.
Yep.
I'm not allowed to kiss my husband right now because I got this ugly thing on my lip, and I'm not sure if it's contagious.
Yeah, she's just going to keep bringing that up.
So.
Yeah. But either way, we love each other.
I love you.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We just have to hug.
I'm
you
getting
can't.
Okay. Right there. All right. See, I ain't got no thing on my lip. That is my lip right there. This is all lip.
All right.
All right.
Love you, babe.
Yep,
love you guys.
Love you guys.